Wealthy business owners keep employees, they expand and provide more jobs with tax cuts. In this episode, I'm going to address head-on how do Trump tax cuts benefit the wealthy? And you're going to be surprised because they actually have benefited the middle class more. Oftentimes they have hurt the wealthy, and it sort of has bitten those who thought that, oh, let's raise taxes, because all of a sudden they lost some of their deductions along the way. So get ready. You're going to be blown away why oftentimes cutting taxes actually stimulates the economy, and it helps the middle class far more, and it actually can hurt the wealthy as you cut those taxes. My name's Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist, but a tax specialist now for more than 46 years. And so I've studied the impact of a government raising taxes versus lowering taxes or creating tax cuts. So when people ask the question, golly, when taxes are cut, like the Trump tax cuts, do they benefit the wealthy? Is he just trying to pad his pocket? You're going to be surprised as I share a few things with you right now. But if you want to learn more about this, I would encourage you to take advantage to get a free copy of one of my best-selling books. My most recent one is The Laser Fund, and if you click on the link below, you pay $5.95 shipping and handling. By the way, it costs a little bit more than that. Pay $5.95 towards the shipping and handling, and I will fire out a copy of the book for free to you. But let's talk about taxes here. See, when you have tax cuts, especially the way Trump recently did it, the recording of this video, what happens is it can benefit the middle class more. Because when you cut taxes down, the government giveth, a tax break, but it also taketh away. So many times, like even Ronald Reagan back in 1986, he lowered taxes, but he got rid of a lot of deductions. And so the effective tax that wealthy people paid went from 13% up to 18% back in 1986 when he lowered taxes. Did you hear that? The effective tax went up because he got rid of some of the tax deductions. So let's use an example. When Trump changed and cut taxes, he wanted to create more parity. Now, what's parity? It's equality among the various states, because there are some states like California and New York where their strategy has been for years, hey, we're going to raise taxes, and the state of California, we're going to provide this and this and this, but we need more tax revenue. And so in California, the wealthy people making over $400,000 a couple, combined income, they will charge you sometimes as much as 12 and 13% in California state tax. And Californians are sort of okay with that because you've been able to deduct that off of your federal tax return. So what California is doing is they're sort of robbing federal tax revenue by allowing you to pay to California higher taxes that you get to deduct. Well, what about the 9 states that doesn't have a state income tax? Well, wait a minute. What about the states that only charge the normal like 5 to 7% state rate? Well, that's unfair to them because you pay less in tax, you have a lower deduction. Californians, New Yorkers, they are actually transferring and sort of robbing the federal government from taxes. And California is saying, we want to have high taxes and you can tax deduct it. So what did Trump do? He said, no, let's create more parity. I'll let you have up to $10,000 of deductions for what you pay in income tax in your state or property tax, but that's the limit. Anything over and above that, you can no longer deduct off your federal tax return. And all of a sudden it made it fairer. It gave parity, more equality among all 50 states. Now, of course, some of the wealthy people in California who were sort of funding themselves and some of their initiatives were pouting, well, that's not fair. Well, actually, it is more fair But see, they were so used to taking advantage of the tax deduction that when Trump lowered taxes but got rid of some of the deductions, it actually hurt some of the wealthy people in certain states that were getting away with redirecting taxes to the federal government to the state of California. And so it actually hurt wealthy people. It didn't help them. But see, a lot of people don't point that out. They scream and holler sometimes, but it's among their circles, the wealthy, because they don't want the general middle class to know that they've actually been getting away with paying less in tax and deducting it here and there. So you need to understand that sometimes when we cut taxes, we often have to have the same amount of tax revenue. And when you lower taxes, oftentimes employers have more money to stay in business, to hire people, to expand. And so then the revenue that is being generated, that's being taxed, okay, is going up. So if you lower taxes by 3%, but you raise the revenue in the country by 10% or 15%, well, you make up for it because you lowered taxes, but you raised the revenue that's being taxed. And when you do that, it creates jobs. It makes the economy vibrant, booming, and dynamic, which is what happened when Trump lowered taxes. This is where you raise the revenue that's being taxed. So when we talk about this, you need to analyze which states charge the highest amount of tax and how do you redistribute, how do you level it out. But oftentimes the middle class actually benefits far more than the wealthy do, even though you have politicians that say, oh, he's trying to pad his own pocket. No, I don't think Trump got away with paying less in tax. In fact, oftentimes the wealthy pay even more in tax because they lose some of the deductions when these initiatives are instituted and they're passed by Congress. So I've been a tax strategist for 46 years. And in just about every one of my books, I talk about tax strategy, that taxes are actually an asset. We use those for social causes. We actually have the ability to redirect otherwise payable taxes to causes that we support, rather than give 100% of your money to government and let them decide where to put the money. You can give to charities in alignment with your values and vision. And by doing that, you can tax deduct it. It's not a tax loophole. Since we have to pay 30 or 40, 50 or 60% to social causes, you'll notice a lot of wealthy people will opt not to just pay, 50 and 60% in income tax, but another 20 or 30% to charitable causes to get a tax deduction. But then they can dictate, where are my dollars going to benefit the causes that I believe in, that are in alignment with my philosophies on life, and helping the Cancer Society or the Kidney Foundation or any cause that you are passionate about. This is how you can tax deduct the contribution to those causes. So in reality, tax cuts like the Trump tax cuts, they actually cause the wealthy sometimes to lose some of their deductions. It benefits the middle class more. You'd probably never know that based upon what media tells you. But if you want to learn more, I'll tell you what, I would get a copy of my most recent best-selling book. It's called The Laser Fund. This is a 300-page book. It's 2 books in one, actually. This one is about 200 pages, 14 chapters with all kinds of charts and graphs, and we talk about taxes in here in depth. You'll understand a ton more when you read that. If you like to learn by stories and examples of how we've been able to redirect otherwise payable taxes to causes that people support, you can read the stories in this one. You flip it over, and this is 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories. Now, I'll tell you what, it retails for $20. I'll buy the book. If you just pay $5.95 towards the shipping and handling, which is usually a little bit more than that, you can go to laserfund.com and pay the $5.95, and I'll pay for the book and send it out to you. And you can begin to learn about how taxes are actually an asset and how to redirect otherwise payable taxes to causes you support. And frankly, you'll do far more for this wonderful country than just rolling over and paying more and more in tax, because generally speaking, the more you make, the more they take.